All right, so we've got our view model. So let's go up a level now and talk about our controllers. So I'm going to right-click on controllers, and what I want to do is I want to add that account controller. So right-click, new controller. I'm just going to choose the top one, the MVC5 empty controller. I'll call it account. So it'll come back and give me a generic controller template with an index action. Well, for me, I want to be able to go localhost or whatever my domain is /account/login, and I want that to be my login page. So I'm going to create a different action method called login. And then in my index, I'm going to go ahead and actually put a redirect to login. Yeah.
Action result.
Action result is the return type for login, and as part of the ASP.NET MVC model, your controller methods have to return an action result. That's what is expected back from those methods. If you look at things like the view that gets returned here, it inherits. It's like a view action result, I think is the actual return type. It inherits action result. Or it's called a view result. It's kind of hard to see there. But when you call controller.view, which is what this call is here on line 19, that returns a view result, which is inheriting action. So any type of content that your controller returns has to be in the form of an action result. And you can technically inherit that class. That's a class that comes with MVC. You can create your own. I've never had a need to do that, but you have that flexibility if you ever need to. So they try to make it generic. All right, so what I'm going to do here under index is I'm going to change this up. Oh, too far. And I'm going to return a redirect to action. And you'll notice the return type on this is a redirect to route result. Again, that inherits from action result. And what it's looking for is a string that is the action name that I want to redirect to. In this case, I want to redirect to login. So the routing system will actually pick up that string, parse it, and figure out contextually where it needs to redirect to. In this case, since I'm just redirecting to the login action, it assumes that that action lives in this controller being the account controller. There's actually an overload that I could use if I needed to that allows me to redirect to another controller's action. So if I wanted to redirect to the home index, let's say, I could do home in here, comma, or I'm sorry, switch that. Index as a string, comma, home, and that would then tell it that I want to redirect to the index action inside of the home controller. And all that really does for me is in case I go whatever /account, it'll automatically redirect me to the login page. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and add an attribute to the top of this, and I'll explain why later. But I'm going to flag this particular action as a get action. And the reason for that is that I actually will end up building two actions. One will be to handle the get requests, and one will be to handle the post requests. And we'll kind of cover those in a little more detail in a minute. But the basic idea is that when I go to fetch the page for the first time, that the browser is making a get HTTP call, and then when I fill out the login form and hit submit, it's then making a post back to the controller. You guys learned that hopefully in your HTML class a little bit when you talked about forms, talked about methods on your forms. All right, we'll get into all of that. So at this point, we now have a model, we have a controller, and then the next piece will be for us to actually build out our view.